know it's Monday night. Y'all know what time it is. Another episode of the Reentry Journey. Tonight, let's get on to it. Our guest tonight is Coach T. She's gonna come in tell about her story from felon to phenomenal. So let's not even waste no time. Let's go ahead and get into it. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's going on, kings, queens, and phenomenal beings? It is your felon to phenomenal coach, Coach T. Man, I want to thank you for this opportunity. Much love to you and all the work that you're doing. I look to learn a lot from you as well because I do not know it all on this journey, and I can take all the help I can get. Those
Right.
days can get rough at times. So, man, for me, how it all began, what's crazy is I watched my mom struggle in and out the prison system. Hers was mainly based off of, addiction, aside from making the poor choices. But, growing up, I was mainly raised by my grandmother, visiting my mother in different state facilities and, finally working at 16, putting money on her books and things like that. And when I got of age, it didn't really deter me. You know what I'm saying? Most people would think that, hey, going through that experience might deter you. But sometimes, hey, you got to put your own hand on the fire, for you to learn.
Right.
And so in my life, I've been on probation twice. The first time I was fairly young, 18, 19 years old. So, life is more forgiving, when you're young. My second time was an aggravated case at 31, trying to be the savior and the protector, for my sister, and ended up turning my world upside down. So, the first time, it wasn't much of a slap. Was able to continue on with my life. I went to college, got a degree and everything. But that second time, that aggravated, that first degree, they weren't playing with that. And I was in my 30s too. So it was like, man, you should quote unquote know better. So at that point in time, the way that it changed my life, how I lost my job and lost everything. And that's why, you asked for that quote. And that quote is when you feel like you've lost everything, that you feel you had the opportunity to do anything.
Right.
So once I went through the suffering part of it, the heartache, the quote unquote, the woe is me, I just thought to myself, because deep down I knew that it was a mistake, and there's more out there for me. I did have a balance of, education as well as, introduction to the streets, but my grandmother did really instill a strong foundation of education, and I saw what education got you. So I knew that knowledge, information changed situations. So once I caught, my second case and ended up being on probation and things like that, and I sat with myself and realized, like, I asked myself, like, how did I get here? You know, really understanding the poor choices that I made, the underdeveloped character that I had, and just how I had no real plan. Chasing the bag, that's not a plan. Running after money is not a plan. If you do what you're supposed to do and walk in your purpose, money come to you. So with that, I just had to refocus and came up with a plan. And I just asked myself three questions. I asked myself, who are you? Got rid of that reputation stuff, stop worrying about what people thought of me and actually identify who I was, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and adjusted those things that I didn't like. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was a liar. I was a procrastinator. I had to get rid of all that. I had to do that work. So I asked myself, who was I? Then I asked myself, what did I want? I want nice things. I want a nice house. I just want to be financially free. I don't want to have to make payment arrangements. I don't want to pay bills late. I don't want lights to get cut off. These are things that I want. So thirdly, I had to ask myself, who do I have to become to get those things? And that's how I worked on my character. Being a person of integrity, of honor, of courage, confidence, service, things like that. So those things that I implemented. And also, when we're on our journey, from felon to phenomenal, dealing with those obstacles in life, so many times we want support. We want people to do this for us, do that for us. So I just flipped that, and whatever I wanted somebody to be for me, I tried to be that for myself first. And then, people gravitate to me. You know what I'm saying? People gravitate to you after that. Just like how they say, if you're on the side of the road, you pushing your car, most likely somebody gonna help you, aside from you just sitting in your car and waiting. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, you sit in the
So
car waiting, all the cars gonna pass you by.
yeah, but you get out there, push, somebody gonna be like, oh, hold on, let me help you out. So
Right.
that's kind of like how the ball got rolling for me. and was able to get out of the rut, able to get a job, and able to start take care of myself, and not having to lean on family members. That's important, man. That's a valuable piece, and getting your life back together after reentry.
Right. So one of the questions is, you were just talking about how you grew up and your mother was going through the system, and but that didn't deter from you from going. Why do you think that occurs? The reason why I'm asking because I've been going through prison throughout all my children's life. I've been in and out of prison almost basically. And I would think that my sons seeing me go through that, like my daughters is fine, but my sons seeing me go through that they were like, nah, I done seen pops go through it. I ain't even finna go that route. But the reality is, like my oldest son, he went that route. Like he been to prison. He's sitting in the county jail right now. And I would think it would deter them from that as well, seeing me go through it. But it didn't. Why do you think, like with you, why did it do that for you?
Man, it just, some of us really have to go through the fire, man, before we get that awakening. That's just lack of wisdom. Wisdom is learning from other people's mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Just that lack of wisdom. And also, too, just been um that fast money can be attractive, when you're in a situation and you're experiencing poverty or lack. Everything around you seems glamorous, and nobody's really teaching you how to cope or without. So you take chances, and that was just one of those experiences. I'm a doer, and I had to go through it myself, and that's just kind of what it is sometimes. But yeah.
All right. So you was talking about you had to figure out, you know what I'm saying, who are you? And
Mhm.
so a lot of times that we talk about sometimes it's not the fact that you catch a felony or anything like that or go to prison or whatever, that that's just the result of something.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, like when you trying to figure out who you were, was there any pains that you had to go back and revisit?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it was many. It was a lot of pain that came from, childhood trauma. Like I held a lot in because of what with my mom going through what she was going through, and kind of like being the, what you call, like, black sheep of the family and things like that. It's like she took like all the negative energy, so all I could do was be good to get attention. I would just shine, and then after a while, I got tired,
Right.
and then just start being reckless in that sense. So, yeah, it was a lot of things I had to address. How I dealt with money. How I viewed money, how I praised money, how I thought money was the answer. Other things I had to address was how I cared for my loved ones. You know what I'm saying? Since money and getting a bag was the issue, I would just throw money at it rather than spending that time and building that relationship and actually being there for my friends and family. So I had to learn how to love my family different because I didn't no longer have the money to just solve their problem. So
Right.
yeah, different, a lot of things. There was a lot of things I had to deal with during that time. I had to deal with myself, my decision making. You know, it's extremely discouraging, to go to college and get this degree, and please my grandmother, but at the end of the day, I make a decision where I can't even use it.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, man, I screwed up. So, having to come to grips with that. So,
Okay. So a lot of people think that catching a felony doesn't really equal up or amount to even going to prison. But uh, just for those that's tuning in, because I know, explain when you caught that felony, like you said, you lost everything.
oh
Not
yeah.
only did you lose everything, but now you gain something. You gain a title of being a felon.
Hmm.
So you fighting two things. You lost everything, and you gain one of the worst things that you can possibly gain in this country, having that felon tag.
Right. And yeah, they try to, attach that on to you forever. Uh, the biggest thing about that is, dealing with that guilt and shame, that comes with that, but also having the understanding that I'm more than that. you know, getting there. That's what I had to get out of. Like, you know, you want to get down on yourself so bad, and there's so many things that help with that. You know, the endless interviews. You know, not having money. You know, living with family. You know, you're constantly reminded of your mistakes on a daily basis. You know, but getting on the other side of that, realizing like, okay, where I'm at now is just a total of what I've done previously. Now I can set up a whole new life by making a whole new set of decisions. So yeah, I'm not worried about that label anymore because I relabel myself. That's why I'm going from felon to phenomenal. That's what it is. What's that old saying? They say it's not what they call you, but what you answer to.
Right. Hey, I like that. Like you said, like you relabeled yourself. So when, on the midst of you understand that you had to relabel yourself, did you feel like you was gonna have to go through everything that all the struggles that you was gonna have to go through in the process of relabeling yourself? Because even though you relabeled yourself, that don't mean everybody else relabeled you or everybody else looked at you in a different light.
Man, I didn't know what I was gonna have to go through, but I knew what just carrying around the label of a felon looked like. I know what just giving up looks like, and I didn't want that, so I at least had to do something different.
Yeah,
you know, and try.
You say you can't have the felon tag and give up now. Hold up.
That's too much. That's too much. I ain't trying to be on the corner talking about shoulda, coulda, woulda, man. Right. I can't do shoulda, coulda, man. If I was you, I woulda. Nah, I'm gonna do something right now. You still able-bodied. God wake you up every day. You got a purpose, you know. So don't let your past, you know, weigh you down like that. You just have to find a way to move beyond it.
Right. So I see something on your Instagram page. It really touched home with me because when my last time I was incarcerated, one of the things I did was took all my pictures off my picture board and started building a vision board in my cell of what I wanted my life to be like once I got out of prison. And so I would go to the library, I would steal all the pictures out the magazines, you know, building my vision board and sayings and everything. I seen you post on your page about vision board. What is the importance of having a vision board or building a vision board?
Man, a vision board is so important because it allows you to dream, have an imagination, and if you can see it, you can achieve it. And it's as simple as that. Like, you have to allow yourself to dream again. You know, so many of us, through whatever we've been doing in life and then getting caught up, you know, in the system and things like that, we forget that we have the power to dream, you know, and we just look at what's in front of us for face value and think that's it. No, you can dream and you can have it. So visualizing, man, everything that I've gotten after going, you know, through everything and on the other side, on phenomenal, I dreamt it. Like, I got a truck. I just got a truck July of last year. Now, for the past 2 years, I was saying I'm gonna get a truck. I ain't know how, but I was working. I was gonna get a truck. You know how I got a truck? My dad hit the lottery and called me up and told me he was gonna buy a truck. That's how much I visualized and manifested that truck for me. I didn't know how I was gonna get it. It didn't even come out my dollar. It didn't even come off my dime.
Oh man, yeah, that's right on time.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I was all on the bus, man. I was on the bus and Uber and everything, so that was a blessing for sure on time.
Oh yeah, true indeed. Yeah, because with the vision board, like I said, I built one and everything on that vision board within 3 years. Because I've been out 3.5 years. I just finished my federal probation. But everything that I had on that vision board, all the way up until now, like we did another one not so long ago. But it helped me navigate my way now that I was out of prison and I was the person. I knew who I was. Like you said, I had to figure out who I was. I got out of prison and I knew who I was. So I ain't had to put on this mask. I had to put on this facade. I ain't had to be this gangster. I ain't had to be this stud. I can be Kardell and accomplishing everything that I set out to accomplish. You know, I seen you talk about one of the main reasons why reentry programs don't work. Talk about that for a little bit.
Why Richards up pro shoot? That's a lot of reasons. I don't remember that video all the way, but I know off the top, just from experience and just, talking to people on the block, people are deterred from reentry programs because they're quote unquote Christian based or religious based and things like that may deter people. And I tell people all the time, man, if you need the help and they're offering, what does the packaging matter if the purpose is purposeful? And also, even from an aspect of, even if you don't believe in God, which I do, but it's like the Bible is a book. You read book for information, you take the information, apply it to your life. What's wrong with that? Jesus was just a good man. You know what I'm saying? Right. He was patient, he was kind, he was loving. Right. Aren't those good attributes to have?
Exactly.
So what are we talking about here? Like, get what you need and move forward. And thank God that was an opportunity for you to get off your feet. Don't be missing no blessing just because it come not how you want it. Right. You know what I'm saying? People want things to look that way. Well, that's the thing. You can't do it your way no more. Your way didn't work. Your way got you here. You're trying to go here. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So I think that's one reason. And then another, they have some that I think there's not enough representation of those who have overcome. It's too many of people telling you should do this, but they don't have the experience. They don't know what it feels like to be in that position, to be labeled, to be rejected when you're trying. You putting forth a valiant effort, and you just get a door slammed in your face, at every turn. That's very discouraging. And all you can say is just keep going. I need a little bit more than that. It's a lot. It's just far as like within the supervision programs and things like that. I've heard of grants and stuff that they're getting, and they don't even have programs to provide like supplemental income for us while we struggling looking for a job. Right. But they want to bring in outside people who have no experience and tell us, not teach us, tell us what we need to do.
So yeah, that's one of the main things, because you do have people in a lot of re-entry programs that don't know what it feels like to have a felony on your record, that don't know what it feels like to be in prison, but they try to tell you how to adapt to a situation that they've never been in. That's kind of like going to business school and your professor never ran a business before in his life, a successful business, not even a small business,
Right, selling t-shirts or something.
Yeah, you ain't did that. You just coming in here with this paper and trying to teach you about something that you ain't never really did. Right. And just like you said, I see that with a lot of reentry. So a lot of times when I go in and I bring my reentry program and I'm talking to people, one of the things they ask me, well, what sets you apart from the person we got now? And that's one of the biggest things that sets me apart. Like I've been through these people's shoes. Like I know what it's like to have a felony. I know what it's like to get out of prison and have to deal with child support, trying to transition back into society, working a job that you just got to settle for, because you're not working a job that's to your strength. You want to get a job so you ain't got to worry about your PO being on your back, and you're going to need the money. But now you're facing all these parole fees, probation fees, child support, this and that. But if you ain't never been through that, you can't really give me the answers to that, because you never been through it and came out of it. Especially, it's some things that you can answer, like, yeah, this is how you do that. But when you come out, when you got that felon label on you, you coming out of prison, you're on probation and parole. Like, unless you really had that on you, that's one of the things, like, unless you really had it on you, you really can't tell me how to maneuver or move around.
Nah, that's heavy, man. That's heavy. It's coming at you from all kind of ways. You got your family situation, you got your work situation, you got you dealing with you. If you got kids, you dealing with that. Like, it's tough, man. Yeah. It's tough.
So we've been talking. You talk about going from being a felon to phenomenal. Explain that to the people that's tuning in. Exactly how that process came about, and what does it represent?
Got you. Felon to phenomenal is the journey that I feel like all of us are on, and it is endless. It is for the rest of our life. That's what we're gonna have to deal with. If you're working for someone, then there's an opportunity you might have to go through that job process again. So it's always little moments in our life where somebody gonna try to bring that up. So you always gotta remind them you phenomenal, because they gonna try to remind you that you were felon. So basically, how that came about as being on probation, my second time around, and finally getting a job. I just had a little job at a Goodwill, but I had done something that I had never done before. I invested in myself. I invested $2,000 in myself and went to a Eric Thomas conference out in Atlanta. Okay. Yeah. I did that. Yeah. So being from Houston, this was the first one he was doing. It was a speakers conference, and I'm sure they were gonna come to Houston, but like something in me was like, this is the first one. I gotta go to this one. So I took my little tax return, made that investment, and from there, investing in myself, working on myself with my self mastery, turning once was a hobby of DJing into a business to create my own value and worth, because there is not a job that will ever pay us our value, our worth. And that had nothing to do with being a felon or not. That's period. But let alone being a felon too. There's no job that's really going to pay us our worth, because they always see us as our past. So doing that and coming up with a plan for myself and staying committed to that plan, developing my character, exercising my creativity, being me in my fullness and wholeness and purpose and passion that God made me to be, that's what it's about. And with that, I came up with Felon to Phenomenal, which is a coaching program in the community where I help other felons. I guide them along. I don't do the reentry program thing, because I feel like there are some good reentry programs. Like here in Houston, we have Work Faith Connection. That's an 8-day faith-based job readiness program that I did myself. And it gave me confidence, to be able to speak about my past in interviews in a way that I had never done before. So that's amazing. There are, like I said, a lot of great reentry programs out here, but it's all about the plan and identifying your strengths and weaknesses and working that plan to the T and living life. We're all gifted and talented in many ways, and we've been so boxed in by living this routine life of, go to school, get a job, come home, whatever the case may be. We have multiple talents that we can share with the world and be our true selves. So that's what it's about. It's being phenomenal in your own right in every space in your life, not just the job. See, that's the thing. Even the obstacles that we have to overcome, which is jobs and housing and, social service and things like that, that's only one aspect of our life. We have health, we have spirituality, we got emotions, we got our mind, and of course, you're going to feel as if you're behind when you've only focused on one part of your life all your life, which is the money. Like, there's so many other things that we can gain happiness from. And it's about being ultimately happy and at peace with who you are. So, yeah.